I think it is possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary. When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. If you get up in the morning and think the future is going to be better, it is a bright day. Otherwise, it's not. The first step is to establish that something is possible, then probability will occur. Persistence is very important. You should not give up unless you are forced to give up. Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. The path to the CEO's office should not be through the CFO's office, and it should not be through the marketing department. It needs to be through engineering and design. Some people don't like change, but you need to embrace change if the alternative is a disaster. I say something, and then it usually happens. Maybe not on schedule, but it usually happens. If you're trying to create a company, it's like baking a cake. You have to have all the ingredients in the right proportion. I say something, and then it usually happens. Maybe not on schedule, but it usually happens. Work like hell. I mean, you just have to put in 80 to 100-hour weeks every week. This improves the odds of success. You shouldn't do things differently just because they're different. They need to be better. It's okay to have your eggs in one basket as long as you control what happens to that basket. The best part is no part. The best process is no process. It weighs nothing, costs nothing, and does nothing. The reality is, if you're not continuously improving, you're going to fall behind. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop, where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. Great companies are built on great products. Don't confuse schooling with education. I didn't go to Harvard, but the people that work for me did. I would like to die on Mars. Just not on impact. It's definitely true that I have high expectations of myself and others, and it's something I'm working on. I think that's the single best piece of advice. Constantly think about how you could be doing things better and questioning yourself. Life is too short for long-term grudges. Starting and growing a business is as much about the innovation, drive, and determination of the people behind it as the product they sell. There's a tremendous bias against taking risks. Everyone is trying to optimize their ass covering. I think that's the best advice, to just do things and increase your rate of experimentation. I could either watch it happen or be a part of it. The first step is to establish that something is possible, then probability will occur. It's okay to have your eggs in one basket as long as you control what happens to that basket. Patience is a virtue, and I'm learning patience. It's a tough lesson. You shouldn't do things differently just because they're different. They need to be better. Really, the only thing that makes sense is to strive for greater collective enlightenment. Persistence is very important. You should not give up unless you are forced to give up. People work better when they know what the goal is and why. If you're trying to create a company, it's like baking a cake. You have to have all the ingredients in the right proportion. My biggest mistake is probably weighing too much on someone's talent and not someone's personality. I think it matters whether someone has a good heart. It's very important to like the people you work with, otherwise life, and your job is gonna be quite miserable. I don't create companies for the sake of creating companies, but to get things done. If you're coasting, you're going downhill. You want to have a future where you're expecting things to be better, not one where you're expecting things to be worse.